What's going on, everybody? GIs, UTXJG, the Don, the Punisher, man. The Punisher finally came out. If y'all didn't know, it came out last week. This was one of the Netflix series that I was probably the most interested in besides The Defenders and Luke Cage. And also, of course, besides the Black Panther, this next year. But I was very, very excited for The Punisher, especially after seeing Daredevil Season 2. I have two Patreon backers here with us. Say what's up, Marty.
What's good? What's good?
And we have Wakaichi. What up, Waka?
What's up, y'all?
All right, so if y'all wonder why I'm here by myself, it's because TBH is being a nerd playing Destiny 2 right now. A said that he was going to watch it. But exactly. Big ass nerd. A said he was going to watch it, but did not finish it. Ethos said he was going to watch it, but did not even watch one episode. I think Chaos finished, but he is not available right now. So again, all y'all wondering, where's TBH? Where's TBH? Now you know. So anyways, we're going to get this cracking. For The Punisher, though, one of the main things that I saw, and I just want to briefly talk about, people were saying that The Punisher was too gory, too bloody, too gritty. And my first thought is like, what are you talking about? Yeah, like, are you like serious? What did you expect out of The Punisher? Did you expect them to tone it down for you? If you were too squeamish or whatever, like this is what The Punisher does.
Bad,
it really, well, it kind of was. Something.
The end, I can understand that.
I got squeamish. Yeah, I just got squeamish for the last two episodes, but for the most part, though, like I could stomach it. It was exactly what I expected. So Marty, what do you think, man? Do you think that they even have any grounds to say that the Punisher of all of the Netflix series, of all of Marvel, as a matter of fact, do you think that it was too gory for you?
Nah, because whoever's saying that right there ain't a real. I'm not gonna say ain't a real Marvel fan. I'm not gonna say ain't a real Punisher fan. But I could go as far as saying they're not a real Marvel fan. Because if you know Marvel, Punisher is probably is the goriest thing you'll probably ever see in a comic, and even in the show itself. So this is perfect in my opinion.
Exactly. His name is the Punisher. Like, come on, man. I don't know what anybody was expecting, but y'all need to stop with all of that, all this sensitive stuff. If it's too if you get squeamish, if it's too gory, just don't watch it, because honestly, you don't know what you're expecting.
Real shit, man.
I just don't know what you're expecting. So continuing off with the Punisher, it really just kind of got right into it. Frank Castle was obviously still alive, as we all knew, because I mean, why would they have the series if he wasn't alive? So if you didn't know that, surprise, spoilers, nigga. but Frank Castle is alive, and he's currently trying to figure out like who killed his people, because obviously his that's the main reason why he even went on a rampage in the first place, because somebody executed his family, and he was desperately still trying to figure out what happened, who did it, and whatnot.
Well, he kind of figured out in season 2 of Daredevil, but just some shit came up, and then he realized that wasn't the end of it.
Right. So this is basically further explaining like who did it, what exactly happened. So there were some people who he was in the army with. One name was Billy Russo. He's Marines. Sorry, Marines, not Army. Excuse me. But one was Billy Russo. He ended up being kind of the main villain. Not exactly. You'll figure that out a little bit later. But he was really the main guy though. He was really the main guy. He was the main face. So that was Billy.
I don't know. I feel like Agent Orange was the main face, to be honest.
But who did the most stuff? Like, who did you see the most? I feel like it was Billy, especially towards the end.
Like the end. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
that's what made him a good villain, is because you really didn't know. Well, we knew, but they really didn't know who it was.
Yeah, because it started off that he was just his buddy. He did not know that Frank Castle was still alive, but he had another buddy, Isaac, who ended up keeping that.
Curtis.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Curtis. I thought it was Isaac. Curtis, my bad. But Curtis was the other one who he was a war buddy with him, and he was the only one that knew at the time that Frank was still alive until good old David Lieberman, who was a master hacker, and he was also presumed to be dead. He ended up finding him after Frank had to handle some business one random night. So that was really interesting. I thought at first that David was going to be the main villain, but as the story progressed, we ended up finding out that David actually knew something about what was going on with Frank. They did some stuff back in the Marines days, ended up executing somebody, and he had the footage. So that was very interesting. He ended up finding Frank and ended up trying to halfway blackmail him, but Frank was smarter than that. Ended up getting in touch with what's her name, Karen. Yeah, Karen. And she was also in Daredevil.
Oh yeah.
As well. Yeah, so we ended up getting in touch with Karen as well, because they got like, I don't know if that's kind of like some tension there. I don't know if that's sort of a relationship, but Karen has feelings for Frank.
Kinda is.
They never really got there, but yeah,
I'm just glad it's not. I'm just glad it's not clear that fucking is the link this time. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So he ended up getting in touch with her. She ended up again finding out once he showed himself that he was still, alive or whatever, and trying to figure out what's going on. So she ended up helping him a lot in the Punisher. But just as far as like the overall story. We're gonna start off with you, Waka. What did you feel about the overall plot of the Punisher? Do you feel like it was really good? Do you feel like it was strong compared to the other Marvel series that we have seen so far?
I think it was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, I was going into this with my expectations not so high because the Punisher's so one-dimensional. Just rah, kill everybody. But I was pleasantly surprised, to be honest. It was I was also surprised with the pacing was actually good for the 13 episodes. I thought the 13 was going to be a little long, but they actually paced it out pretty good. So all in all, I was very surprised with this. This is definitely gonna have to reevaluate my list for Netflix Marvel series.
I was saying the same thing. I was definitely saying the same thing after it's over. What about you, Marty? What did you feel?
I thought it was pretty good. I'm at the moment I can't really see too many problems in the plot line because I just finished it this morning, so I'm still thinking about some of it. But
okay.
Yeah, and overall it was great.
How did you all feel about Frank's relationship with Sarah? Did you all see that coming, that she was going to kind of come on to him and try to have that physical relationship with Frank as he, kept coming over and ended up kind of like filling that dad role that David ended up not missing because he was presumed to be dead? Did you all kind of see that coming or no?
Definitely. I definitely saw her coming on to him because it was normal, human nature, so to say, because her being away from her husband for so long. So yeah, I definitely saw that coming.
Yeah. I was just like, it was kind of cringy at first. It was like I did see it come. I was like, no, don't do that. Because as Frank's and David's relationship, as they ended up, becoming partners, because Frank was at first like, nah, f this, like I don't know you like that, like you need to tell me what's going on and then I'll be on my way. But it didn't end up being like that. But as their relationship and their partnership kind of came into play, and he kept going over Sarah's house, I'm like, bro, like you need to stop this. Like it's going too far.
Going over just to help, because fucking David asked her, right?
No, I thought it was genius the way he was doing, because he was trying to use him as leverage.
Yeah, I agree with that, but it's like, damn, at the same time, you kind of went a little bit too far. She ended up getting way too comfortable. She was like, I'm going to cook for you. You're going to come over. We're going to have this family dinner, me and my children. I'm going to drink this wine. Won't you have some wine with me, Pete? Because he wasn't Frank. Won't you have some wine with me, Pete? And I'm like, bruh, like, she's going to try to fuck. She's really gonna try to fuck, and I'm like, what are you gonna do about that? And when that part,
have none of it though.
Yeah, like he, they had that little one kids, but that was it. Like he knew better, but it was still kind of crazy because like Frank obviously is like, bruh, like I had a wife, so I don't think he's trying to get into anything, and David's just sitting there literally staring at them through the cameras, and he like, oh my god, like man,
I ain't gonna lie, David a bitch for that, bro.
He was a bitch. He was a bitch, but what else could he do about it? You know what I mean? Like,
nah, because if he was a real one, if he kept watching, you wouldn't know that Frank wasn't into it. He pulled away hella quick. He was like, no, we can't do this.
That's true, but at the same time, it's the fact that Sarah like even came on to him in the first place. He like, man, I lost my wife.
it's not really her fault though. She thought her husband was dead. I mean, like,
Exactly. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. So that was just a crazy situation. It was kind of cringy, but like I said, I saw it coming. So it was interesting,
yeah.
how it
I
ended up
mean,
playing
they
out.
literally retarded.
Right. Right. Definitely. Definitely. How did you all feel about what is her name?
Makani,
How'd you feel about Madani,
or
the cop? Did you like her as a character? Did you feel like she was strong? Did she play the role well? Start off with you, Marty.
She played Bill well. I can't really say much else because I'm still thinking about that. But how she was doing with Bill and everything, that was genius. I didn't really see that coming. So it
honey
was
pot
pretty
nigga.
dope.
Okay. What about you, Walker?
Man. I mean, she was a good foil to shake things up for Frank to get in his way. But what is there? I
Hmm.
mean, she was there.
Yeah, she was just there.
I feel like towards the end though, that's when everything kind of turned up for her because she did, like you said, Marty, she did end up playing Billy, really, really well. But at first though, like Billy was just like had her on a string because she had a really, really bad moment on that one scene when they set up
Bruh,
that
I
fake
was
ambush.
Bruh,
Hmm.
whenever she was all started shit and he was cleaning her up, I was like, no,
I'm like,
bruh,
bruh, that's some savage shit, right? Like, oh my god, that was a crazy ass scene. I'm like, Billy, like, what are you doing, yo? That's wild.
God damn. Bro,
Yes.
Billy's a savage with that hidden blade though on the Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, for
really
real.
also
That shit
yeah,
wicked.
straight up Assassin's Creed stuff. That man had the weapons for real. So we'll just go ahead and move into it. Billy Russo, again, he ended up being the lower tier. I would say like he was kind of like an enforcer, but he wasn't obviously the brains behind it. But he was in
Right.
the scenes
He was
the
the muscle.
most. Yeah, he was the muscle. So he was basically in the scenes more than the person who was in the background. So as far as Billy Russo was concerned, did you all see everything that he did, especially towards the end? Did you see that coming? Did you see the tension that he had with the Rollins?
Oh yeah.
Did you see that
Bro, I
really
knew that
coming at
nigga
the
was
end that
dying.
he ended up doing
I
what
knew
he
that
did?
nigga was going. I knew he was going to kill that nigga, bro. We all. I mean, he didn't kill him, but you know.
He helped. Yeah, he planted the seed. He definitely planted the seed. What about you, Marty? Did you see that coming with what Billy ended up doing towards the end?
Yes, at the end. I didn't really see it beforehand, but it was they were pushing towards it because
I mean,
the
for
tension
horror, and you
between.
really could. Yeah.
I don't know because Billy seemed
Well,
more
no,
about the
because
money, and then if he kept getting the money, he wouldn't have cared. But then you're testing his character, which he can't. He's not gonna put aside his pride of the Marines and all they went through. You keep pushing, the wrong buttons. Your dog's gonna run away eventually, something like that.
I feel that. I feel that. Billy was kind of like he was kind of teeter tottering. I didn't really see him. I didn't see him going against Frank as much. I felt like if he didn't have Rollins in his ear, he probably would have went a little bit easy on him. But again, like he was worried about the money, and he was also worried about getting up in the rankings because he didn't like how Rollins was treating him. And he like, look, bro, like I know that we need to handle Frank, but I don't like the ways you're going about this. I just don't want to get caught. That was his main thing. And Rollins was really trying to pin everything on him. He like, look, I'm going to be good if Frank does something, but I don't know about you though. Like, you go take the fall. And Billy was like, all right, so since you want to do this, then I'm just going to end up playing you towards the end. I'm going to let Frank handle his business.
That shit was hilarious.
Yeah, that shit was definitely.
Whenever they were interrogating, or not interrogating, when they were torturing Frank, I was laughing my ass off. I was like, really, nigga, this is what you're dreaming about while you're getting shit beat out of you, bro?
You know the one thing that I absolutely despise about a lot of these movies and series, shows. I don't like how the villain always wants to torture the main character instead of just shooting them in the head. Like you could have had plenty of moments to kill Frank, and this is the same thing. I understand it's for dramatic effect, but yeah,
but he made it personal. Like he wanted to, he wanted to get back at Frank.
Yeah. In this case, I can understand. In this case, I can understand, but it's like you could have been dealt with him. I understand you wanted to kill him, and you absolutely could have in that moment. But he like, no, I want to keep punching you, I'm going to keep torturing you. And then look what happened. Look what happened. Like once you let Frank loose, it was a wrap, and that was one of the most brutal scenes ever, man.
Yeah, that was pretty brutal.
I was just like that was the one part that I got kind of squeamish. I'm like, yo, like Frank is going in, but I don't blame him though. I don't blame him after everything that happened to him. That shit was just super wild.
That shit was raw, bro.
And let's see. I guess we could talk about Rollins as well. How did you feel about Rollins as like the boss in the background? Did you feel like he played that well or no? I'll start with you, Walker.
Rollins was a bitch ass nigga, but I mean, yeah, that actor played his part well because I hated that nigga, bro. I hated that nigga with passion, bro.
How you feel about the scene where Frank actually found out where he was hiding at, and then had his sights on him, and then it was just like nothing. Like he was just standing there. That was some badass shit.
He was just sitting there like, oh, you tried, nigga.
Right?
Yeah, I saw that coming too. I was like, nah.
I'm like, can it be that easy?
I know. I was like, it's not gonna be this easy, bro. We're only on like episode 6 out of 13, bro.
Right. So if he would have been, you know what? Like, even though it was still early, like I wouldn't have been mad if he actually did get him, because I mean that just would have furthered Billy's rise to power. Yeah. But it still ended up, working out with the plot twist and everything. So, but that was interesting. I was like, wow, like Frank really had him already. Like he already found out everything, got to him and everything, had him in his sights, and then nothing. I gotta get up out of here. So that was some really, really crazy shit. Let's see, was there anybody else that I want to touch on? I think that's pretty much everybody, because unless
the only person you really forgot is Gunner, but I mean that nigga.
No, not Gunner was just there. That was a nice scene though with him him in the woods. He was though with that bow. He definitely was with that bow. But that was I felt like at that point they just wanted to show somebody else, another one of his war buddies that wasn't like directly involved at the time. Obviously he had to figure out some more stuff, but they just had to put somebody else in there and then take him out that same scene. But he did do his diligence at that point.
We didn't talk about Lewis, bro. We gotta talk about that. The school shoot or school bombing.
Oh yeah. Okay, so yeah, that's the other thing I want to talk about. Thank you for reminding me. So another thing that the Punisher did very well, and it basically further proved to me that war is not fun, bruh. War is not fun. Like I respect the vets out there, but I don't think that there's anything positive about war. First of all, you're taking other people's lives. And then you come back, you can have PTSD, you can lose limbs, or you could just straight up die. Or you can come back and then America doesn't do anything for you, and you can end up a bum on the street. Like, I don't see any positives about this.
That's what I liked about the Punisher. The Punisher was real. Like, those were real shit, like real life problems, bro, about vets coming back.
Well, I got some people in the background, but yeah, like he was saying, the Punisher really did touch on. You good? Go ahead.
They come back with PTSD. They can't get the help they need, and then they end up doing shit like this. Like that's real, bro.
Yeah. So, so one of the characters in the Punisher, his name was Lewis. They ended up having a session which Curtis ended up running like every week or so, where war vets or the people that came back from the war, they talked about their experiences, because a lot of them were traumatized. A lot of them did have PTSD. Yeah, it was a support group, and Lewis in particular was he was a young kid. He was a young kid that came back from the war, and he was having severe problems. He even went so far as to protest with him and one of his buddies, which he found out wasn't in the war. I don't know what he was about, but he was a weirdo. He ended up coming to the support groups, but wasn't actually in the war at all. And he had an agenda, obviously, but they went so far as to protest in front of the city hall or whatever, and he just lost it. Lewis ended up losing it throughout all the episodes. He could not deal with coming back to the civilian life. He was digging ditches in the back of his backyard. He still lived with his dad, and he ended up doing some crazy stuff. He ended up killing somebody very, very viciously, and he ended up almost causing a severe thing. Well, actually, he did. I'm sorry. He ended up blowing up a building. So he was on some terrorist shit too. So like this man ended up like going ballistic throughout his time. So like that just shows you, that just shows you the type of stuff that like war can do. So that was a really, really good thing that the Punisher should be teaching people. Like it's not easy for the people who are in the war, and I just don't like it at all, man. Like just war is not fun. So I understand that there are some people that live to serve us or whatever, but I just don't feel like we should be having any sort of wars or sending people over there, period. So that's just me, but it definitely touched on some real subjects about war and politics and how America just doesn't treat people who are in the war all that good when they come back. So
and a certain party, they always vets this, vets that, but they don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
once they get elected.
It's the unfortunate truth, man. Like Lewis, even he went so far, he couldn't deal with the civilian life, so he wanted to go back, and that's when he ended up meeting Billy Russo. And Curtis told him, "Nah." He was like, "You're not gonna pass the mental test." So he's like, "Don't overlook that. Don't even put him in the crew, bro. Don't put him in Anvil." And so he blocked him, and once he did that, like Lewis ended up finding out, and that's when everything kind of set off, man. Like Lewis absolutely snapped. So that shit was crazy. So definitely pay attention to that. Don't overlook those messages that the Punisher was teaching you about war. So that was really, really good there. Besides obviously the massive killing whenever Punisher, whenever Frank Castle ended up coming into play and exacting his revenge. Another thing I want to talk about before we do what we thought about the Punisher overall, the last scene in the Punisher where Frank and Billy faced off, and they went back to a very important place for all of them, including Frank's family, because Frank could not stop thinking about his family and all the time that they had and when they got executed. So Billy ended up having a good play by taking him to this carousel merry-go-round. Sorry, not carousel, merry-go-round. And they ended up facing off. They had a duel to the death or whatever, and Billy also ended up taking some people hostage on that. And then Madani ended up showing up, and she didn't do much. She didn't do much. She was trying to help, but she ended up getting shot in that situation. So, what you all think about that last scene? Because I didn't exactly know what to expect. I mean, you kind of knew what was going to happen at the end, but
as soon as I saw what he was doing, I was like, oh, this is a setup for Jigsaw, because I knew he wasn't going to kill him.
Right. He was like, yeah, they're bleeding out. Come save them, Frank. I know you got a conscience. So that ended up happening. They ended up having kind of a duel around the merry-go-round, and obviously Frank ended up prevailing. But I like that scene though.
That was the best fighting scene probably in the whole show, to be honest.
In the whole show.
In the whole show. Yeah, at least one, if not the best, one of the best, because it was on something. I can't really put my finger on it right now, but it was something else. I guess I don't know. Maybe it was the emotion surrounding about the area, and then their relationship, and then if you're a fan of the show, you know what's going to happen next and who Bill becomes. It was intense from the start to the end.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's another question. Waka, what do you think was the best scene in The Punisher?
Ooh, that's tough, because you got the scene where Frank went and saved Karen whenever a school shooter went up to try to kill the Congress dude. You got that on, so that shit was live. What else? You got the scene in the woods with Gunner. That was a pretty dope fight scene. You got what else? You got whenever he went to go get what's his? I forgot that dude's name, but they were staking him out because they knew Frank was gonna go try to get him to get intel. And then they put a bug in his phone. That guy, you have that scene.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and then what else was there? Shit, I can't think of it.
The car chase is pretty dope too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The car chase with Madani and the when he first met Illuminaughty. That shit was dope.
Okay.
And then yeah, the fucking him getting revenge on Angel Orange. That shit was fucking amazing. I'm not even gonna lie, man. I was sitting there like, oh shit. I was like, yeah, that was pretty live. And then of course, you know, the last one, that was a pretty good one too. But, yeah.
Okay, I think I gotta go with when Frank came back to David Lieberman's crib and take everybody out before he ended up getting caught. I think that scene was live, how he set up all the traps and everything. It had the guns all placed up, especially that shotgun, boy. Because
I remember that one. Yeah,
when he put the shotgun to the face, I was like, ooh, ooh, that's so sick, man.
I was like, goddamn.
Because he put on the Punisher
right there.
Yeah, he put on the Punisher vest again. You knew it was on, boy. You knew it was on. So I think that has to be my favorite. But second favorite might be when I found his name, Morty Bennett, the Colonel. That's what you were talking about when he had the they put the smoke screen everywhere and Frank was just taking them out. That was a pretty dope scene as well because Morty is a freak. Him and his girl.
Yeah. As soon as I was like, wait, what is she doing? Is she
I'm like treating him like a dog, dominator. Yeah, they on some freaky stuff with that one.
But the craziest part is that she was in on the whole stakeout operation. That's the part that fucking made me laugh my ass off.
Right.
And then they killed her. I was so upset. Like, you didn't even know she was gonna die. She just showed up dead in the show. They were like, here, we gonna make sure you stay in check. And he just showed him the dead body. I was like, oh man, how y'all gonna do that to the man?
Well, that's it, dude. Yeah, that's it for them. So that was very interesting. But yeah, I think that was my favorite scene for sure. Was that scene when he came back to the crib and ended up doing his thing. So that was it for me. That was probably one of the most brutal scenes. Besides, obviously, when he ended up taking out Rollins, because that was. Yeah, oh boy, and everything. I definitely cringed at that one for sure. But that was cool. All right, so overall, Waka, we gonna start off with you. What do you give the Punisher out of 10?
I'm gonna give it a solid 7.5 to 8.
7.5 to 8. Okay. Very solid. What about you, Marty?
Walk on right now. I'm gonna just say you on something right now. But that was at least a 9.5 at the least.
I think I would have to agree more with Marty on this one.
I don't want to get too high, you know what I'm saying? But it was good. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Okay. All right. I'm going to give it a 9. I thought that it was very good. So good that, again, I have to reevaluate what I think my Netflix shows are now. Because Punisher might be in the top 2. I think Punisher might actually be in the top 2 now. Daredevil season 2, I think that's a lot of people's favorite overall. I don't know how you haven't seen Daredevil season 2. Yeah, that also contributes to it. That definitely also contributes to it. A lot of people want to see the Punisher, and after that, they were like, "Oh shit, like he gonna get his own series." So, like I said, a lot of people were looking forward to it because the Punisher made Daredevil season 2 so lit. But I think I might have to put Punisher season 2. Punisher as my number 2, a little bit ahead of Jessica Jones for me because I still really love Jessica Jones.
Oh, Jessica Jones was really slept on. I don't know why people shout out it so much.
It's just because it didn't have as much action. That's the only reason. A lot of people didn't like the psychological aspect of it. They wanted more action. So I understand, but it was definitely slept on. So that might end up being my number 3 now. It was my number 2, but I think I might have to do it like that. So Daredevil season 2, and then Punisher, then Jessica Jones. What about you, Marty? What do you rank the Punisher in your list now?
Punisher's number 1. And Daredevil. Just Daredevil in general was pretty badass, and then Jessica Jones.
Okay. So you put Punisher number 1. I'm not mad at it. Definitely not mad at it.
It was what made my bad, Walker. You got it.
No, you good.
I just wanted to say what made this show so good was the rawness and the grittiness of the show.
Yeah,
that was number 1 for me.
That really helps. That's why everybody liked Logan so much.
Yeah, they really didn't hold anything back. And that's what I like, when you're not afraid to push the envelope. Because, like I said, Mike, it's the people who were like, "Oh, this is too gory." Which, again, I don't know why you say that.
Y'all some bitches.
Yeah, like, but it's those certain people that said that. I think that they really went there. It was just a lot of blood, a lot of guts, a lot of killing, and that's just what I like, man. I liked all of that. So, and I didn't expect anything less from the Punisher. They went even further than they did with Daredevil season 2 on the Punisher. So, I said that's what I rank him, man. It's my number 2. It's Marty's number 1. So that's
numero uno.
What should my list be? I think Punisher can get number 2. See, Daredevil season 2 for sure. Number 1. Number 3 will be Jessica. Then after that it's gonna be Luke Cage.
Mm-hmm.
Defenders and Iron Fist at the very bottom. That should be.
Yep, that's what somebody tweeted me too. So I was like, okay. I agree with that list for the most part. Yeah, Iron Fist definitely dead last.
Defenders ain't even out yet. How you gonna put it above that?
Yeah. So that's that, man. That is the Punisher. That's how we felt about it. If y'all want to participate in these conversations, man, please consider supporting the Patreon. Again, you can be in conversations like this. We've already talked about the Punisher, and we also did Justice League as well, so that will also be coming. But other than that, Marty, any final words from you, sir?
Appreciate G.I. and JG for letting me come through in another video. I know I'm probably here too often, but I like talking about things that I like, so I appreciate that.
We don't mind, man. Thank you for always participating. Waka, any final words from you?
I mean, join the Patreon if you haven't already. Pretty lit. And yeah, I'm gonna go do my best because I took a fat ass L this tournament, but my record's 1-5. I'm gonna try to at least make it 2-5.
Nah, bro. Yeah, you gotta make your little comeback. All right, then. I will holler at y'all later. Peace.